proudly present Philadelphia Phillies baseball on Comcast Sportsnet, part of the NBC Sports Group.
While the sun rises again on the Gulf Coast of Florida, the light shining just ahead is actually opening day. Just 13 days before the Phillies begin their pitch for a sixth straight division title. The focus now turns from those that won't be there on opening day to the 25 players that will take the field, step up to the plate, and compete as the long journey begins. Time is winding down here in Clearwater to visit the Tiki Bar at Bright House Field. Just 9 days left in spring training, 8 here in Clearwater, Florida. This afternoon, the Phillies will welcome in the New York Yankees in front of a sold-out crowd. This past week, a lot of news for the Phillies from an injury standpoint. Obviously, earlier this week, Chase Utley left camp to go see a specialist about his ailing knees. He is back in camp. On Tuesday, Michael Martinez took this pitch off his foot, and it turned out that he broke a bone, so he is out. One guy who's making some progress is Ryan Howard. There's the Achilles that's been a big story all spring long. He's been taking some ground balls on that blue stool from Sam Perlazzo. We'll see if that improves as the weekend moves on. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, along with Chris Wheeler. Time is winding down. Spots are waning, even with all the injuries that the Phillies have sustained.
Well, guys come into camp trying to make the team every year, Tom. And, you know, this club for a lot of years just didn't have a whole lot of competition for spots. But there are some bench spots open right now. Scott Posednik, one of those guys who's trying to win a spot on Charlie Manuel's bench as a spot outfielder. He's had a really good spring, swinging the bat. He can run the bases. He's a good outfielder, too. You know, look at a couple other guys. Maybe Juan Pierre, same boat. Is it going to be Pierre? Is it going to be Posednik? Could it be both of them? The bullpen is still kind of shaking its way out right now. And David Hernan, a guy with a very good chance to make the bullpen. Of course, he's 2 years removed from that Rule 5 status, so, you know, he has options, and they can send him out if they want to go in another route.
Yeah, a couple of the other young guys who are having good springs, Jake Diekman, Joe Savory. There may be a point this year where the Phillies need them if they do get optioned out, because this is a long haul.
Oh, it sure is, Tom. You know, you start a season at this point of the year, and then you play all those games. You see what the Phillies have done, this amazing run that they have been on starting back in 2007. Look at all the games that they played. Last year, clinching the division early through game number 150, winning a club record games last year. The fastest in club history was that clincher. Now, it all sounds good right now. People are saying, oh, well, when's the World Series start? You're going to get in the playoffs. Then you talk to a guy like Jimmy Rollins, and he puts it all in perspective.
You already know that it's going to have to be a grind, and there's no automatic passes. No one will like it that way. Everyone wants to earn it. And, you know, there's still a lot of things that can be done during the regular season to determine, you know, your greatness, you know, in the future of the game, and which ways you can help your team win, and discovering yourself, discovering who you are as a player, as a person, as a teammate, find out a lot about the guys that you're playing with, and still building that camaraderie. So you look forward to those things. You know, obviously it is ultimately about winning a championship, but there are a lot of things that you look forward to that don't involve, you know, just winning a championship.
And obviously, Tom, with all the injuries you talked about, there is some adversity right now at the end of spring training going into the season, but this club has always faced it well before.
One thing that has been good for the Phillies, the starting pitching as of late. Roy Halladay, Cliff Lee, and how about today? It's Vance Worley who will take the baseball for the Phillies. He'll be opposed by former Dodger Hiroki Kuroda for the New York Yankees. This is a split squad day for the Yankees. They're at home. They're here in Clearwater. The fans are at both places. The lineups and first pitch when we return. Phillies baseball is brought to you by your local Tri-State Toyota dealers. Go Phillies, go Toyota, moving forward. By Citizens Bank, we're for homes. Talk to us today about how we can help guide you to the loan that's right for you. And by Xfinity, only from Comcast, the official HD triple play provider of the Phillies. For Charlie Manuel as he's greeting some of the Phillies faithful who are here watching this ball game today against the New York Yankees. Eventful because he's had to deal with a number of injuries, but that's really been the case the last several years. And as Charlie says, you know, I'll work with what we have. And we'll take a look at the Yankees starting lineup first, brought to you by Xfinity, only from Comcast. Yankees have a split squad game today, so they've sent some of their regulars, like Brett Gardner, who leads it off. He's in left field. Francisco Cervelli, the catcher, bats second. Robinson Cano's at second base. He'll hit third. Eric Chavez, the first baseman, hits cleanup. Brandon Laird's over third, followed by Chris Dickerson. And then the bottom third, Dwayne Wise, Colin Curtis, and Doug Bernier. And they'll face Phillies right-hander Vance Worley, who wheels. I asked today, I said, how far are you going to go? He said, I don't know. They just tell me to go out and pitch, and I'll pitch as long as they want.
Yeah, that's kind of like the way Worley is. He doesn't think about a whole lot of things like that, Tom. And I'm sure they'd like to get him, you know, if they could get him 6 innings, 5-6 innings, they would really like that. Depends on the pitch count, whoever else they want to use. He's had a good spring. He only had one shaky outing, and then after that, real good, 11 strikeouts in 10 innings. Here's our scouting report on him, and using all his pitches very well. He likes to really throw that backup sinker. That's his out pitch many times, and you saw what he's done in his last 2 starts. He's been very good.
Well, there's Tony Pena, who will be managing this afternoon for the Yankees. Joe Girardi is back up in Tampa as the Yankees are taking on the Minnesota Twins in a split squad Sunday.
And they had a night game.
Or Saturday, excuse me.
Yeah, and they had a
Friday. Today's Friday, Wills.
They're all the same down here. I just did that to somebody. Somebody said, when are you leaving here? And I went, well, what's today? They said, it's Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. But they had a night game last night in Fort Myers, so they've had a whirlwind few hours coming back up all the way from Fort Myers, then have a split squad here today.
Well, Brett Gardner will lead it off. He hasn't had a particularly good spring, and he takes a strike, and it's 0-1. Gardner is 6 for 32 this spring, 188. Coming off a year in which he hit .259 with 7 home runs and 36 runs batted in. Gardner hits it to right field. Pence on the run. It's over his head and off the base of the wall. Gardner can run. Pence's throw won't get there in time. And it's a leadoff double for Brett Gardner.
Didn't hit it all that well, but you know, we haven't gotten a chance to talk about the wind yet. It's blowing out here today. We haven't had one of these for a while. Not, you know, one of those days where it's just really, really hard, but it's blowing out, and it took this thing. It looked like he hit it off the end of the bat. He did. It was a breaking ball off the end of the bat. Pence thought he had it, and he would have normally, but the wind blew it over his head. So look out today. See the, excuse me, Tom. See the flags, the way they are blowing out right now.
Temperature in the mid-80s again today. Here's Francisco Cervelli. Played in 43 games last year as Russell Martin's backup. And he fouls the first pitch away. It's 0-1.
You have to like that. He took a shot at the right side of the diamond, try and get the Yankees a quick run with a fast runner at second.
Cervelli this spring, 4 for 24. In fact, the top 3 hitters in this lineup, I think of the top 4 hitters in this lineup, who are on the Yankees opening day roster, have not had very good springs. Yankees as a whole, though, 10-9-1 this spring. Now the umpires for this afternoon's ball game. It's the usual cast of characters that we have here at Bright House Field. Vic Carapaz is behind the plate. Eric Cooper's at first. Marty Foster's at second. Phil Cuzzy is around at third. Literally, these are the same umpires, aside from Tom Hallion, that we've seen all spring here at Bright House Field.
Yeah, well, that's the way they do it. You know, they have a group that kind of sits in certain areas. And
there's a looper to left field. That's going to drop. Gardner, halfway between second and third, will hold up at third. Now the Yankees at first and third out of the chute here in the top of the first.
There was a point a number of years ago where we used to have Jerry Crawford, Eric Gregg, and Frank Pulley in almost every game, and that was a threesome.
So 2 hits overall for the Yanks. Here's Robinson Cano. Cano 100 RBIs or more in each of the last 2 years.
Well, good spring, bad spring. As you see there, Tom said he's not having a good spring by those numbers. There's one guy, no worries. He can hit, period.
His career is basically just getting started, but he is a .308 lifetime average in the big leagues. He's played now, and this is his 5th year.
He was a project when he first came up. I remember when Larry Bowe was coaching over there. He said, we're trying to bank him into a second baseman right now. He said, but he can really hit.
A little low, 2 balls and no strikes to him.
It was one of those leave him alone as far as his offense went.
Well, there you see, last year and the year before, CANO tied for second in runs batted in the majors behind Miguel Cabrera. 2-1 the count to him. Ryan Howard, of course, on that list too, and the Phillies hope that he'll continue to be on that list. Ryan was taking ground balls again today on his blue stool that has become so famous here in spring training that Sam Perlazo utilizes.
Started last year with Chase Utley. He'd like to take that stool and throw it away.
That ball's going toward the gap in left center field. 1 run's going to score, probably 2. Cervelli on his way around third. This will be a 2-run double for Robinson Cano. And it's 2-0 Yankees.
He said he can really hit. And that's what he does, too. He hits it all over the place and hits it hard. Worley's in the middle of the plate a little bit right now and paying the price. Look where this pitch is. Breaking ball right down the middle. And a nice piece of hitting there by a tremendous talent.
So still nobody out, and the Yankees up 2-0 here in the first. Eric Chavez is the hitter. Chavez was a part-time player last year for the Yankees. There was some thought that he was going to retire at the end of last season. But once the Yankees jettisoned A.J. Burnett to the Pirates, they had some extra money. So they signed Chavez and Raul Ibanez to 1-year contracts. On the outside corner, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Chavez for his career has 232 home runs. But the last time he played 100 games or more was back in 2006 for the A's.
Worley's first game out was a little bit like he is today. Couldn't throw anything where he wanted to. And that's where he's struggling right now. His location's off.
To left field, that's pretty well hit. Nick's going back. It's over his head. A 1-hop off the wall. Nix gets it into second, so that holds Chavez at first. But Cano scores from second, and it's 3-0 Yankees.
You can see what a great hitter's day this has a chance to be if the pitchers are struggling the way Worley is. Because anything in the air just is jumping. And unfortunately for Vance right now, he's not missing too many bats. Watch where this one is. Right down the middle. Every time on these replays that you're seeing, the pitches are in the middle of the plate, and in the major leagues, you're going to get hurt doing that.
Well, now Brandon Laird is playing third base today for the Yankees. This is the 3rd trip over from Tampa for the Yankees here at Bright House Field.
Well, it's some curveballs now. Brian Schneider's trying to find something, you know, that he can use to get an out or just take the sting out of the bat a little bit.
Rich Doobie was doing some bullpen sessions earlier today with some of the other starters. And a call, strike 3. So there you go. First out of the inning for Worley.
Look where that pitch was. Really fooled him because he started a fastball in the middle of the plate and then it had that comeback action towards the inside corner. And it wasn't right down the middle at the end. See, when curveball got ahead, now maybe he missed his spot, but it worked. It looked like it was supposed to be away and hit the outside corner, and it came down the middle and hit the inside corner. But it worked.
Well, now 1 away for Chris Dickerson, who takes a strike, and it's 0-1. 3-0 Yankees, a 2-run double by Robinson Cano, an RBI a single by Eric Chavez. And now Chris Dickerson, 4 for 19 this spring. He played in 60 games last year for the Yankees.
They get ahead there with a breaking ball.
Swing and a miss, he got it. Back-to-back strikeouts for Worley. Now the Toyota spring report for the Phillies, their average as a team, 278. They've scored 85 runs. They've allowed 93. They've hit just 14 home runs in 21 games. They haven't pitched all that bad. In fact, this week the pitching's been very good. The starters have been very good.
Kind of what do you expect this team's going to be?
First pitch to Dwayne Wise is inside.
See Worley just go with his hand there. You know that he having a little trouble with his release point. He threw 6 straight strikes there and got 2 strikeouts. But the last pitch that he threw for the strikeout, he didn't like it because it was hittable. But he just got away with it.
There's a fly ball to left center field. Victorino and Nix are over. It's Victorino who makes the catch, and Worley, after allowing the first 4 batters to reach, retires the next 3. The Yankees get 3 on 4 hits. Middle of the first, it's the Yankees 3, and the Phillies coming up. Team will have to play from behind as we go to the bottom of the first. Let's take a look at their starting lineup. It's brought to you by Xfinity, only from Comcast. Leading it off at shortstop, Jimmy Rollins. Batting second is Shane Victorino. Ty Wigginton's over at third base today. Hunter Pence is in right field. Lance Nix is in left field. He'll bat fifth. John Mayberry, he'll hit sixth. And in the bottom third of Brian Schneider, Freddie Galvis, and Vance Worley is getting a chance to bat again this afternoon. He's 0 for 1 so far this spring. And they will face Yankee right-hander Hiroki Kuroda over from the Los Angeles Dodgers organization. He is vying for one of the 5 spots in the Yankees rotation.
Doing a good job against left-handed hitters. There's a guy that could really help them. I don't know if the Phillies ever hit a ball hard off him when he's with the Dodgers. Didn't seem like. He almost pitched a no-hitter against him at Dodger Stadium one night. Tough in the postseason against them. There's a scouting report on him. Real good slider and split. And, well, there it is. So they must get something off him. They really.
I think the last time they faced him is when they actually had more success against him.
Yeah, they really wore him out with that 1.41 ERA. And that doesn't include postseason.
Well, Jimmy Rollins will lead it off for the Phillies. Rollins 10 for 39 this spring. Starting to rack up the at-bats. He has 2 home runs and 5 runs scored. He's also stolen a few bases. The scouting report is out on Rollins. Laird is in on the grass at third, and the first pitch is in there for strike. Whoa, I think that got away.
Yeah. The guy on deck, Shane Victorino, and Kuroda had a little episode in postseason play a few years ago, and
yes,
pitch up and in after Brett Myers had, well, who knows what he did that day.
2-1 the count to Rollins.
And Manny Ramirez.
No, Manny does hang over the plate. Pitcher's supposed to get the inside of the plate.
Yeah, but that one was behind him, remember?
That's true. Rollins breaks his bat, rolls it to first. Chavez will take it to the bag. 1 out here in the bottom of the first. So 1 away, and that'll bring Shane Victorino to the plate. Kuroda's now 37 years old. He's from Osaka, Japan. And he is battling for one of the spots in the rotation with guys like Freddie Garcia, Michael Pineda, and I guess you could throw Andy Pettit in the mix too, although Pettit's probably a little ways away as Victorino takes a strike.
How about him coming back?
Well, reports from, I guess it was yesterday, where he threw batting practice. They said he looked like he was ready to go. On the hands, roller softly to second. CANO takes care of Victorino. Well, here's the potential pitchers for the Yankees rotation. And I guess you could say Kuroda were kind of put on a call with Pettit's signing to that minor league deal, which is for $2.5 million, but possibly could go up into near the $10 million range. Here's Ty Wigginton. I guess you could throw Philip Hughes in there too. I guess he's somewhat of a question mark as well.
Well, they have options, and that's all you can ask for is have choices to fill out the rotation with guys that you think are quality.
Wigginton hit that ball hard through the hole on the left side, so he's aboard with a 2-out single.
See, he's not a Philly, so that's why he hit him. So what happened with Rollins and Victorino, weak ground balls. It's amazing the way that he dominated him. There'll come a point where, I've always looked at that and wondered how that can happen, how certain pitchers can just get guys out and they put another uniform on, they'll get them out in that uniform while other teams are hitting them.
Well, if that's the case, then Hunter Pence should go yard right here.
Yeah, well, sure. Right, he wasn't part of those teams that were dominated by Kuroda.
Pence has 2 home runs this spring, overall hitting .275. And he hits a foul, and it's 0-1. Been a lot of discussion about who's going to be the cleanup hitter for the Phillies on opening day against the Pirates. The Pirates have released that Eric Bedard will be their starting pitcher that day, a lefty. So we had I think internally thought that Jim Thome would maybe start at first and he'd be the cleanup hitter, but with a lefty on the mound, that's probably not the case. As Pence takes a high strike and it's 0-2.
Bedard, huh?
Yeah.
Because you looked at that and thought, well, Correa or
sure,
Karstens. That's who I talked to Clint Hurdle when they were here earlier. He thought, well, Karstens been his best pitcher, but that was that's 2 weeks ago.
0-2 the count to Pence. I saw a comment from Clint where he said that if you face the Phillies, you want to throw a left-hander if you can. Now,
not as much as you used to.
Can't do that every day.
Yeah. It's not, the urgency isn't quite there the way it used to be, though.
No.
Without Utley and Howard. And Ibanez is gone.
A little low, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Really, when you think about it now, the Phillies are not a team that you would necessarily just line up left-handed pitching the way you used to.
Unless guys are back.
Right. When they come back. Let's put it that way.
Pence lays off, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. I think Kuroda wanted that one. So did Francisco Cervelli.
I think you pull off up here that pitch. Wow.
Pence last year hit a career high .314, splitting time between the Astros and the Phillies. And he chops it foul, and it remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. Probably a little bit more of an offensive burden on guys like Pence and John Mayberry, and even Jimmy Rollins and Shane Victorino with the absence of Chase and Ryan Howard going into the season.
What they can do when the season begins, they have to try and dismiss that.
Yeah,
and
it's
easier said, it's easier said than done, Tom. Nothing you can do about starting the season without all that offense. Except just, and the term you just used is great. Be yourself. Be the kind of player you are, and get the runs when you have to get them. In other words, if they're out there, man on second, nobody out, man on third with 1 out, get them in.
Yeah. Get them over, get them in.
Yep.
Another foul ball.
He's taking some swings.
Ball girl down the left field line, showing some maximum effort on that ball.
Good start to the day.
Yep. Wigginton goes back to first. This will be the 8th pitch of the at-bat for Hunter Pence.
About 4 of those fouls, he's wound up in the left-handed batter's box after the momentum from his swing.
Three and 2 the count. So Wigginton will be off and running on this pitch. Phillies down 3-0. And they are making Hiroki Kuroda work, despite the fact he got the first 2 outs.
Surprising they'd hold the runner on. Oh, now Chavez is, he's asking. It's like, what am I doing here?
Wigginton goes, and a swing and a foul. Pence just got a piece of it. And Wigginton will go back to first. So this is going to turn out to be a 10 pitch at bat. There you see 5 foul balls so far.
It'll limit what they had in mind for Kuroda today.
Well, based on last night down in Fort Myers, the Yankees brought some more pitching today.
They had to.
It didn't end as well as the Red Sox would have liked last night. A tie game after 9. Up the third base line, Pence slips, so this should turn out to be an easy play for Laird, and it is. So a long inning because of the 10 pitch at bat that Hunter Pence put together. Wigginton is left on the base paths. We go to the second with the Phillies down 3-0. The Phillies home opener on April 9th might be sold out, but that doesn't mean you'll miss out on opening week. Tickets are available for games during the opening homestand, including great promotions and great rivals, including the new look Miami Marlins. See Phillies.com for ticket information and to purchase today. I was back home the last couple of days. Wheels, the trees are blooming back in the Delaware Valley.
Everything's confused.
Very confused.
And then when April gets here, they're going to be shivering.
Yeah.
Because you know what April's like.
Well, it was gorgeous back home the last couple of days.
Well, what do we get back?
Colin Curtis leads it off. He's the DH this afternoon for the Yankees. Curtis missed all of last year with a separated shoulder. Played in 31 games for the Yankees back in 2010. One ball and one strike to count. Colin Curtis is a kid who was diagnosed with testicular cancer when he was 15. And he was able to battle through that and make it up to the majors.
Same thing that John Kruk went through.
Can't imagine how that felt, though, at 15.
Scary.
Absolutely. Just missed off the outside corner. It's 3-1. Last couple of pitches have been pretty close. And there's ball 4. Curtis gave it an extra look just in case. So first walk of the day by Worley. Oh, with the runner at first, this gives us an opportunity to bring in Greg Murphy, who has an idea of what the infielders are going through with the runner at first base right now.
Yeah, you're right, Tom. You know, I talked to, we've been watching Freddie Galvis and his transition, of course, from shortstop to second base. So I had a chance to talk to Juan Samuel today about, what he'll be facing, the big difference when he moves over to second base. He said, first and foremost, getting yourself in the right position for a cutoff or a relay, but also about the double play. He said, remember, when you're playing shortstop, that runner's coming at you. You can see him coming when you're turning that double play. He said, if you're playing second base, all you can do is feel it. The guy coming right down your back. So that's the big transition in there. Yeah, if you stop to think about it, it could be a little disconcerting when you can't see that guy coming right down at you.
Well, you see Murph put that hand up and was waving those fingers. That's basically what Juan Samuel said to him with 2 hands. He kind of put his hands back behind his head and was just flicking his fingers like that.
In the case, Murph, I've heard infielders talk over the years. There's certain guys you can hear them.
Yeah. Juan did say that as well. You can hear those footsteps coming down, and he said it with a little bit of pride. I think they take some pride at second base, knowing that those guys are bearing down on them. They could stay in there and still turn the double play. So for Freddie Galvis, it's something that he's going to have to continue to learn. But guys, I think, by all accounts so far, pretty good for Freddie Galvis playing that second base position.
Yeah, he's been pretty good. There's 3-4 ways to make a double play when you're a second baseman, and you don't see the runner, as you guys are talking about. And boy, that's the scariest thing about it. And sometimes you got those torpedoes on at first, and middle infielders, they know who they are.
2-1 the count to Doug Bernier, and he fouls it away. It's 2-2.
Dave Cash used to tell us stories all the time about whenever Dave Parker was on first base and Bo was shortstop, Bo would 10 times, give it to me quick. Give it to me quick. Because he wanted to get out of there when that big guy was coming at him.
Bernier takes inside.
Hey, our colleague, one of the hardest sliders you've ever seen play the game, Gary Matthews. Oh, he was nasty going into second base. Middle infielders heard him coming. They knew he was over there, and they got out. They wanted to get out of there in a hurry.
Because he was pretty quick, too.
He could run, but he was fearless.
Schneider has a chance to have a strikeout, throw out, double play. There it is. Now, that's not exactly what Murph was talking about, but the Phillies will take it. And Brian Schneider got rid of that ball very quickly. So 2 outs here in the second. You see Jimmy Rollins there, and Jimmy talked about the last couple of years, having all these different double play partners, but he didn't discuss the catcher, Brian Schneider.
Yeah, and that's an infielder's delight right there. They're running on the count, so it's not a stolen base situation. The guy's not going to get any kind of a jump. So the odds are if the hitter swings through it, the catcher can make a strong throw of any kind, and you got plenty of time to put the tag down. But there's another example of what Murph was just talking about. When you're a shortstop, it's so much more fun to play because you see everything coming at you. There's nothing blind in that position.
Yeah, Freddie told me that the other day. He said, that's the big difference going from shortstop to second, is that at shortstop, you just can see the entire field. Everything that's happening, it's basically in front of you. Want to know the count to Brett Gardner. Talking to Jimmy Rollins last year about the different double play partners that he has had over the last couple of years. Everybody had a different style. He said Valdez, you had to get to the bag quickly because the ball was coming quick. Chase, he said you had to time it a little bit more. And he goes, and Chase, I could do that in my sleep, basically, covering second base. Michael Martinez, he said, is a little flashier. So, when you go over to the second base bag, at times you're not sure which way the ball is coming.
Well, that's why they teach a shortstop from day one is you don't go right to the bag. You hang around it because you have to, you anticipate your partner, but sometimes if the throw's not right, you have to be in a position that you can reach for it and don't take for granted that it's going to come right over the bag to you every time.
3-1 the count to Brett Gardner.
And that's why you'll watch middle infielders when they go to the bag on a double play, they'll float towards it a little bit. Unless they really have to get there in a hurry, that's a big difference.
Well, but doesn't it seem exact what Jimmy was saying about Valdez? How
Absolutely.
Fast he gets it to the bag.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, he would throw those seeds over there.
3-2 the count to Gardner, who doubled and scored his first time up.
This is all a struggle today for Vance Worley. He's just trying to find some kind of rhythm, something to do where he can throw strikes consistently. And Brian Schneider works him really well back there, and you can see he's trying to get him to throw all his pitches. I think the comeback sinker's coming.
And there it is. Called strike 3. Gardner thought it was way inside. Second strikeout of the inning. 4th overall for Vance Worley. And it turns out to be a little easier inning. This is the pitch that made Vance Worley so good last year. And I'm sure you'll see it quite often in 2012. Well, back here at Bright House Field, we want to remind everybody that the Phillies will open up the season in Pittsburgh. And to get yourself ready for the Phillies' upcoming season, check out Phillies Focus this Sunday at 10:30. Marshall Harris has a chance to catch up with Ryan Howard. It's presented by Schuylkill Valley Sports. And Ryan talks about his injury. In fact, Marshall has been down here the last several days, and he's gotten a chance to talk to Shane Victorino, Ryan Howard, Vance Worley. Vance told me that they had sushi together the other night, Wheels, he and Marshall Harris.
That's a great conversation dinner.
Yeah. Now we go to the bottom of the second. It's 3-0 Yankees on top.
You can learn a lot over the yellowfin.
Lance Nix will lead it off. It'll be Lance Nix, John Mayberry, Brian Schneider, 5, 6, and 7. And the first pitch is low. It's 1 ball and no strikes. Nick's 5 for 24 this spring. He's been dealing with some nagging injuries during the course of spring, but he's been back out there every day. And when the Phillies face a right-hander this year, at least to start, you're probably going to see Lance Nix out in left field.
This guy likes to hit. He's a pretty good outfielder, too. Not a liability.
Broke his bat, looper towards short, 1 away. That's 2 bats that I've heard Kuroda break in this game so far.
Yeah, Jimmy Rollins will start the game. That's the first one he turned into absolute kindling.
Yeah. John Mayberry is the batter. John, 11 hits so far, 6 runs batted in. Phillies trying to get to the 500 mark here in the spring. They've been right around it, obviously, the whole spring. Yesterday, Cliff Lee pitched phenomenal baseball against the Blue Jays in Dunedin. Phillies didn't muster any runs, though, against the Blue Jays.
It was a quick loss.
It was. Well, Cliff lost yesterday, despite the fact that he pitched very well. And then the other day, Roy Halladay pitched very, very good baseball against the Orioles down in Sarasota.
Probably had an off day. Total off day for the club in between.
1-2 the count. But I think any questions about Roy Halladay and Cliff Lee.
There
they were answered the last couple of days.
Well,
if there were.
There ever were any, right?
I don't know if there weren't any out of this camp.
Right.
And you just got the feeling, too, that Doc was going to dial one up the other day after everything that was talked about.
I think he looked at that as more than a spring training out.
Charlie last week when he was asked about Doc said he's going to be fine.
Yeah. Least of my problems.
2 balls, 2 strikes the count to Mayberry. And he's down on strikes. Waved at a breaking ball for a strikeout for Kuroda.
See how tough Kuroda is on right-handed batters, boys. He really has good stuff. It's very deceptive, you know, like a lot of those Japanese pitchers, he has a little hesitation. And then he throws that thing to the hitter, kind of a frisbee look. It looks like it's a strike out of his hand. Start to swing and miss it by 2 feet.
Well, now Brian Schneider. Brian, in 8 games so far this spring, has 15 official at-bats, and he takes a strike. 4 for 15. Grounds it to shortstop. Bernier takes the room service hop. And it's a 1-2-3 second inning for Hiroki Kuroda. So the Phillies have managed to hit so far through the first 2 innings. That's the only ball that's gotten out of the infield against Hiroki. He's on top 3-0 here at Bright House Field. Phillies and the Bombers. Yesterday, Ryan Howard was over near the first base bag, getting a chance to take some ground balls on that blue stool. Sam Perlazzo's been using that stool for Utley, for Howard, for Jim Thome. He said we should patent this thing.
Yeah.
And he's hoping that he doesn't have to use it that often in the very near future. And yesterday, Ryan talked about his return and his rehab and the fact that he's been in that boot for the last several weeks with Scott Palmer.
I don't think it really set me back because I think the biggest concern was my tendon, and the tendon was never an issue. The tendon was repaired back in October, so even with me not doing what I was doing before from a rehab standpoint, the tendon is still getting stronger a little bit every day. So now I can get back to kind of doing some more strength building type stuff. So I don't think it was really a setback at all.
That's good news that Ryan felt that way. The fact that he felt like it was a blessing in disguise that, you know, he was in that boot for the last several weeks. It was good to see him, though, today. He was walking out to the backfields to take those ground balls. And it's good just to see him active and getting his rehab underway.
Yeah, because when he experienced that downtime again, nobody knew. You know, that was one of those. And it's great to hear him, as you said, Tom, you know, in his own words, say, I don't consider that a setback.
Here's Francisco Cervelli, who singled and scored back in the first. And he takes low. 1 ball and 1 strike. I know Ryan has been lifting with his upper body, doing some things that he can do without putting a lot of pressure on that Achilles. He's getting himself stronger again. A little low, and it's 2-1. Phillies also announced today that they have optioned Dominic Brown down to the minor leagues. And that'll give Dominic a chance to play all the time in left field. He had himself a good spring offensively. Liner to right field. Pence comes up, and Cervelli was hustling up the first base bag. And let's listen to Dominic Brown after he found out that he was going down in the minor leagues.
Yeah, I hope so. Just going out working hard. That's it. That's all I can do. And I hope they have a future and plans for me. I keep hearing that, but you just never know in this game.
You had a chance to talk to Charlie. I'm sure he gave you a little pep talk.
Right. No, he's just keeping me positive, and I told him that I'm fine. I'm just going to go down there and work hard and continue to keep doing the little things.
Well, that's the important thing, doing the little things, but just keep getting more comfortable out in left field. It's a new position for him, moving from right field to left field.
Well, he was on his way to probably getting about 50 plate appearances this spring or more if he hadn't gotten banged up again. He hurt himself diving for that ball in the outfield, and that started it. That's something.
Robinson Cano lines one to left, his second hit of the day, and Cervelli stops at second.
That's something that is part of his process as far as defense goes, because he hurts himself playing defense. And it's not the first time that he hurt his hands, his arm, his wrists, those kind of things. So they're trying to work with him that when he dives for balls to protect himself better.
Well, he handled himself very well, as he normally does when he was sent back down.
He is one of those people you really root for because he has so much going for him as a person, and obviously has talent. But he's still crude in a lot of ways. That he has to play. This game is so much repetition, and he hasn't had that much repetition, and he needs that. But he needs to stay healthy, number one, to get the repetition.
Right. Eric Chavez, the batter, he singled home run his first time up, but he takes a strike in the knees. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. Yankees scored 3 runs in the first. We're here in the top of the third. It's 3-0 New York.
Struggle. Has been since the first inning. And the pitchers know when they're having these kind of days. And Vance's credit, he's trying to work through it. You see his ball strike ratio, not good.
Yeah, this will be the 48th pitch of the outing already. 21 in the first inning, 17 last inning. And strike 2.
That was a pitch that worked so well for him so many times, but he got way too much of the plate that time. And, it froze the hitter, which is good.
Remains 2 balls and 2 strikes now. Tark got in the way there.
Yeah, that was a good thing.
Swing and a miss. He got him. 5th strikeout for Worley. And 1 away here in the third.
Yes, he has a lot of strikeouts. That's what I mean. One thing about Vance Worley is he battles and battles and battles. And when you're having a day like this, that pitch, I think that was a changeup, it looked like. And it started tailing away from Chavez, and it fooled him. But one thing about Worley is he's not going to give in.
Well, he was able to get Laird on strikes his first time up, got him looking. And he takes strike 1. See if he can get that double play ball here.
Yeah.
Middle infielders are set up for it.
He's more likely to get a double play ball and an off-speed pitch than his fastball.
Ground ball to third. Nice scoop by Wigginton. There's one. Galvis is able to turn it around the horn. 5-4-3. Second double play of the day for the Phillies, and it gets Worley out of a potential jam here in the top of the third. Good job all the way around. Galvis, as we said, staying in there to get rid of the throw. Galvis as the Phillies down 3-0 as we go to the bottom of the third. He'll lead things off for the Phils here in the home third. We talked about his double play capabilities with the runner bearing down on him, and he stayed in there with that throw. Look at the coverage, and then CANO came in and he was able to stay in there. And you see what he did. He had time there to get there and be under control, so he used the back of the bag for protection. Didn't have a real fast runner coming out of the box, and that's something you have to know, how much time you have even to throw it. And he wasn't under a whole lot of pressure there, so all those kind of things work for him to make that one easy. Now watch. See, right here, the ball's hit fairly hard, but it's a slow runner coming out of the box. Now he has time. He's going to use the bag for protection. The guy's not even close to him, CANO, so there's no pressure on him there. Makes a perfect play. Now there are going to be times that runner's going to get on him a lot quicker if they're not holding him on, or if it's a fast runner, or the ball's hit a little bit slower to the guy starting the double play. Second base, I don't know. I think it's a really tough position. Well, Freddie will lead things off. 12 for 47 this spring. Shows bunt, takes a strike, and it's 0-1.
The shortstop is always probably going to be a little more athletic player because they have to be quicker, have a stronger arm. But the double play for the second baseman 10 times more difficult.
Well, he got that one into his kitchen, and he turned on it quickly for a foul ball, long one. And it's 0-2. One thing about Galvis is that he is gifted defensively, so it could carry over from shortstop to second, and he knows the game.
Exactly. He is coachable.
Off the end of the bat, a soft liner to second, one away here in the bottom of the third. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Thomas Jefferson University Hospital. Call 1-800-JEF now for an appointment.
The thing that they're really going to work hard with him at second base, and Chase had to learn that when he first came up, was don't get in the middle of the bag, because that's when you get blown up, and heaven forbid your foot is stationary at that time. That's how you get a knee blown. And you know there's movement involved in that to get out of the way of the runner as quickly as possible, and that's why there's 2, 3, 4 different ways to do it.
Well, here's Vance Worley. No balls and 1 strike to Worley. He's had an at-bat already this spring. He didn't like that call, and it's 0-2.
Utley's mentality when he first got here and was playing second base was he was so tough that he just wanted to stay there. Said, "Go ahead, hurt me." Well, you're going to get hurt. And Vuk did a great job. John Vukovich did a great job teaching him how to protect himself with the bag and to move around and to make the double play different ways. Sammy can help him with that too.
Yeah, Sammy handles the outfield defense, but he can certainly whisper in the ear of Freddie Galvis when it comes to playing second base.
And Sam Perlaza is very good at that.
0-2 the count to Worley. And he stays alive. Vance can swing the bat. His career average at 208 with 5 runs batted in.
Yeah, he can. He'll be interested to see if he gets one of those breaking balls from this guy, because he will be exiting.
And he does.
And he exited.
Yep.
You just, you're a real good major league player and you're a right-handed hitter. It's hard to stay in against Kuroda.
Second strikeout for Kuroda. And back to the top of the order for Rollins. There's a lot of talk that the Dodgers would keep this guy just because he could be a piece to the foundation. And the foundation is Clayton Kershaw out in Los Angeles. As Rollins takes a strike, it's 0-1.
He should be okay in New York too. We'll see what happens. But mentally, pitching all those games in Japan that he did, he's older. You have to be special though to pitch on the East Coast.
Well, the other part of it too is that he is a sinker ball pitcher, and it's a hitter friendly ballpark, so it shouldn't bother him too much pitching at Yankee Stadium. 1 ball, 1 strike the count to Rollins. He grounded out his first time up. And he takes inside, 2-1.
Well, right-hander in that ballpark always has to have something to get left-hand hitters out because of that short porch, and he does.
See his career numbers with the Dodgers. Ball had some bite on it. It's full now, 3-2 to Rollins. Phillies should get a little healthier this weekend. Placido Polanco took batting practice again today. Took it yesterday as well, so he's getting closer to coming back. Ground ball softly hit to shortstop. Bernier takes a tough hop, and the side is retired in order. So 7 in a row retired by Hiroki Kuroda. He's retired the side in order the last 2 innings. We move to the 4th. The Phillies down by 3. Phillies trail at 3-0 as we go to the top of the 4th. As part of their starting rotation, heading to the clubhouse for the day. Follow the Phillies with MLB.com @bat12 for your iPhone, iPad, or Android. Get spring training scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. Text @bat to 31826 or visit Phillies.com for details. Sold out crowd here in Clearwater. Sarge, I don't know if your ears were ringing or not, but Wheels was talking about you during the second inning of today's ball game about breaking up double plays.
Oh, something good then, huh?
It was something good. He said people were afraid of you coming into second base during double plays.
Kind of a lost art now. They don't do that as much anymore. They like to protect those middle infielders, and well should be. Guys making a lot of money. You don't want to have them get an injury because of a rolling block or breaking up a double play, but those are fun things.
Right, but as the opposing player, you didn't care about how much money they were making.
Well, no, but you didn't want to ever hurt anyone.
Right,
but
you wanted to play the game the right way.
Wanted to play the game the right way. You wanted to make sure that runners on first and third, you want to break that double play up so your team can get that run.
Chris Dickerson leads it off for the Yankees against Vance Worley. 3-0 Yankees, and it's 1-1 the count. Well, is there a certain technique as a base runner that worked better than other techniques for you when you were going in hard at second?
Well, you want to get a jump, and if you end up getting hit in the ribs or whatever, that was another technique that actually made you get to that base a little bit earlier. Don Baylor, another guy that used to just notorious for breaking up double plays.
Blowing them up.
Bill Madlock. Well, those guys would actually run right into the fielder where I would slide and then run.
Oh, okay.
Only guy I didn't get was Ozzie Smith.
Just too fast?
Well, he'd jump up so high and you'd roll and he'd actually ask you if you're okay.
I remember you telling that story where he jumped over and said, "Hey, man, you okay?"
Oh, my gosh. You know, he had the ability to be able to jump just straight up and still get something on the ball and throwing it over to first base.
One of the best stories, one of the greatest ones you've ever told is when he jumped over you and you're trying to dust yourself off and get up for the bag. He goes, "Hey, man, you okay?"
All right. Yeah. Oh, boy.
2-2 the count to Chris Dickerson here in the 4th. And a soft ground ball over to first. John Mayberry's there. So for the first time today, Worley has the leadoff batter out. And now Dwayne Wise will be the hitter.
Well, even though they've gotten a few hits, Worley still seems to be under control. He's moving that ball in and out of the zone. That hit pretty hard, though, leaving him out over the plate in that first inning. But he's really not in awe. He just, his demeanor on the mound, I mean, you can just kind of tell. He's just throwing the ball free like. Look at there, and he continues to pound the zone. A lot of times for pitchers, if you get too much of it, you're going to get hit hard, and that's what happened in the first inning with Vance.
Hit 0-1 to Dwayne Wise, who flied out to center his first time up, actually to left center field. And it's 0-2.
Kind of like that slow curveball that he's throwing to the left-handed hitters. I mean, you got to actually pick your spots, but he's been able to freeze them on there. It's that fastball that's kind of gotten him into trouble.
And a called strike 3. 6 strikeouts for Worley. He said it's too early in spring to rack up the strikeouts, but he needed that right there.
Well, just flew Wise all the way. Check out the location on it. Little movement. Looks like a four-seamer, and you just split the outside part of the plate.
So Rich Doobie, who charts the games for the pitchers, probably had a couple of conversations with Worley after the first couple of innings. But he's been helped out with a couple of double plays this afternoon. It's no balls and 1 strike to Colin Curtis. He walked his first time up.
Yeah, when they chart, it will be all the different pitches that they throw. Fastball, the curve, changeup. Whatever pitch they throw will be on that chart. Just kind of go over that for a learning tool, if you will.
Ground ball to first again. 2 ground balls, neither hit that hard. Worley's there to cover, and it turns out to be the easiest inning for Vance Worley. So, Sarge, all he needed was for you to come into the booth. It's a 1-2-3 top of the 4th. We go to the bottom of the 4th here at Bright House Field. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Citizens Bank. We're for homes. Talk to us today about how we can help guide you to the loan that's right for you. And by Chevrolet. See your local Chevy dealer. Visit ChevyDealer.com. Phillies trail it by 3. Shane Victorino, Ty Wigginton, Hunter Pence due to bat against Hiroki Kuroda. There's Victorino. Packed house today. Yankees are in town. A week's left of spring training games here at Bright House Field. Folks are getting another glimpse at this beautiful facility. Mike Schmidt is here today. Bob Dernier here today. How's Bobby D doing?
Bobby is in the house, just visiting over on the minor league complex side. Some of the coaches.
Shane Victorino leads it off, and he takes inside and low. 1 ball and no strikes. There's Ryan Sandberg. part of the Phillies/Cubs connection that you know pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
1-1 the count as Victorino hits that foul. You guys were talking about that today. You know, the number of guys that went from the Phillies to the Cubs, obviously with Dallas Green and his influence.
Oh, he took everybody.
He did.
Okay, he knew the minor league system and major league system. Guys that just thought maybe were even marginal and were good players. Keith Moreland ended up getting Keith from the fighting fields.
1-2 the count to Victorino. In the dirt, 2-2.
I remember being traded over there, and I'm like, man, this is just like being in the Phillies clubhouse.
What did Bobby D say today? Phillies West, is that what he called it?
Yeah, that's what he was calling it. That year, Bobby was ticketed to go to the minor leagues. After that deal, not only was he on the major league team, he ended up winning a Gold Glove that year.
Is that 84?
That was 1984.
Victorino hits it over the first base bag down the right field line. Dickerson got to it quickly, and that holds Victorino at first. It's not often that Victorino's held to just a single on a play like that.
That's smart base running. He had the play right in front of him. When you have the play in front of him, you don't need the coach. You make up your own mind, depending on your speed. Even though he has great speed there, Dickerson looked like he was going to come up with a pretty good throw.
Well, now Wigginton has singled his first time up. Shane has not run an awful lot during spring training. We'll see if he decides to go here. Kuroda is slower to the plate than most pitchers. And the pitch up high. 1 ball and no strikes.
Well, he's going to want to do that. Whether or not he's doing it now, you know, that's okay. He can save his legs, but he's going to have to run during the course of the season.
Just saw Sam Perlazzo. He handles the running game for the Phillies. Kind of the role that Davey Lopes had before Davey went to the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah, a little more difficult though. However, you know, for Sam, Davey was a complete base stealer where he could actually steal signs or knows exactly when a pitcher's going to throw.
1 ball and 1 strike to count to Wigginton.
It just helps the base runner. Any kind of added edge that you can get, that's what you want to do, especially when you're still in a base. Well, different pitchers have different tendencies, whether they move their hands a little bit or back foot always has to leave the ground when he's throwing to first base.
Would there be a point during spring training, though, when if you're a base stealer that you would try to steal bases or try to get into that rhythm?
Well, just like, no, not necessarily. Just like when you're hitting, once you're starting to feel good, once your base stealer's legs, they start to feel good, they know whether or not they can steal a base just by the jump that they get. And I'm talking your really true base stealers, the guys that would steal you 30, 40, 50 bases.
Kuroda's thrown over there a couple times. Phillies 24 times last year they were caught stealing, which was second to the Cubs for fewest in the National League. But there was a time where they weren't running a whole lot either.
No, not at all. But when you can use that as a weapon, boy, it just puts a lot of pressure on the opposition.
Well, there he goes, and Wigginton fouls it down the left field line. And the count is 2 balls and 2 strikes. Was it Davey Lopes who said, maybe it was Ricky Henderson, he can't be afraid of getting caught?
I think both of them have that same philosophy. You know, and when you're playing against them, you just know they're going to run. It's just a matter of when or whether or not they're going to be stealing second and third. And a lot of times when Davey Lopes was getting on, early in the ball game or late, once he's on, you knew that, you know, the Dodgers were going to just about score a run, even though he was on first base.
Two and 2 the count to Ty Wigginton. There goes Victorino again. Pitch is grounded toward third. Only play is to first. And they'll take care of Wigginton. One away. Well, Sarge talking about the Chicago Cubs. Their only trip to Philadelphia will begin Friday, April 27th. It's a 4-game series. On Sunday the 29th, it's the Citizen Bank Fanatics birthday party. Free Fanatic Bank for fans 14 and under. Monday the 30th is a Hatfield Dollar Dog Night. Go to Phillies.com to purchase your tickets today. One away, runner in scoring position. Here's Hunter Pence. He grounded to the third his first time up. It was a 10-pitch at bat. Victorino inches off second. And Pence went around. It's 0-1.
Off balance just a little bit. Geared for the fastball. Well, not a bad swing. I like that average to be up a little bit higher, though. He has hit the ball and hit the ball hard. And he's a type of player that you're not going to change the way that he swings.
Hit that ball the other day against the Detroit Tigers that took a hop off the face of Miguel Cabrera. Cabrera has a slight fracture to just below his orbital bone and had a few stitches as well. I mean, that ball was hit as hard as any ball that we saw that day.
It had top spin on it, and really Cabrera actually had no chance unless he had maybe a cape going Olay and kind of getting out of the way of it. That ball was smoked.
Down and away, 2-1 the count.
One of the reasons that I moved from third base to the outfield, just because of that reason. Ball coming a little bit too hard in the infield.
Did you have to convince somebody of that, or did somebody convince you of that?
I convinced myself after taking them off my ankles and everything else. I tell you, that ball doesn't feel good coming off that bat. You know, and back in the day where the fields that you had, I mean, had rocks and everything else on them, so you're going to get some bad hops.
Off the plate. Bernier, no way he's going to throw Pence out, although I think Chavez gave up on that play a little too soon. But the Phillies will take it. They have first and third with one out.
Yeah, that's a pretty good call, Tom. He came off of the bag just to make sure that if it was an errant throw that he was going to be able to actually get that ball. There it is right there. Quick throw as it goes over to first base. And you're right, he did kind of get out a little bit quick. Could have actually stretched, but Hunter will take that hit.
So Pence is aboard. That's the 15th hit of the spring for Hunter. And the Phillies have 2 on with 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th. And Lance Nix is the hitter. He popped out softly his first time up. Little humpback line drive. Takes inside, 1-0.
Well, these are the situations when they get them that some kind of way they're going to have to deliver that runner at third base. Doesn't necessarily have to be a hit. Preferably like that ball hit in the gap or out of the ballpark. But getting that RBI in will do the trick.
That may not be deep enough. Gardner coming in. He's under it. Victorino tags from third and then stops. And it wasn't deep enough. So first and third with 2 outs here in the 4th.
Well, you notice how you let the infielders, they got out of the way. Gardner facing the play. Catch that ball. That's the way you want to do it. And runners on base. You would like for the outfielder to catch that ball, especially runners that would be in scoring position.
Well, that'll leave it for John Mayberry. Here in the 4th, runners on first and third. Mayberry struck out his first time up. Little cue shot to first. Chavez followed it, which is what you have to do on a play like that. The side is retired. The Phillies get a couple. They do not score. So they're scoreless through 4. We go to the top of the 5th here at Bright House Field.
This afternoon, he had a rough start, 21 pitches in the first inning. Robinson Cano had one of the 4 hits given up by Worley in that inning. Eric Chavez, an RBI single, but then he settled back down and picked up a couple of strikeouts to get through that first inning. He's battled all day long, helped out by 2 double plays, including that one. It was a strikeout throw-out double play. And then his 2-seamer, which has been so effective for him in the big leagues. He came back with that, then a changeup, and then just a straight old fastball to get through the 4th inning. So Sarge, he's retired the last 5 batters that he's faced, and if he can make this play, which was a tough one, he would extend that even more. But that was a good bunt by Bernier.
Yeah, it sure was. And you like the way, though, Vance is just pounding the strike zone, and not just with fastball, variety of different pitches. So, you know, yes, you'd like for him not to have given up any runs, but more importantly, as he's starting to build up the arm strength for the course of that season.
Well, the Yankees have the leadoff batter aboard. It's the 4th time, excuse me, where they've had the leadoff batter aboard. And back to the top of the order for Brett Gardner. Doubled in the first and scored a run. Went down looking on strikes. His last time up.
Yeah, he kind of had something to say about that pitch. You know, as long as you don't show that umpire up there, a lot of times he'll give you the benefit of the doubt. He'll tell you where he saw that pitch.
Well, let's face it, it's not often that an umpire gets into a player's face during spring training.
No, you don't.
Gardner showed bunt, takes it low, 1-0. I think the only guy, I could be wrong about this, that I can recall this spring that's gotten thrown out is Ozzie Guillen against the Boston Red Sox.
That doesn't surprise you, though, does it? I mean, you know, Ozzie is one of those guys that likes to get the last word in.
Off the plate, Galvis to second for 1. Can he turn 2? He does. 3rd double play of the ball game for the Phils. He got a really fast runner, too. Not only at second, but the guy over at first.
Yeah, Gardner running, going to first base. Kind of shows you, though, Galvis, check out his arm once he gets on that bag there. As he throws that in one motion, didn't really even get up. It tells you, shows you there how strong this kid's arm is and gets him in plenty of time.
Well, 2 outs now in the 5th. And here's Francisco Cervelli, who has 2 hits today. Well, if not for these double plays, I don't know if Worley would be out there in this 5th inning. The double plays have really helped him.
Well, he counts on those double plays, though. Again, you know, he'll give up hits, but he seems to be able to come up and make good pitches at times. Got to be able to pitch with men on base if you're able to do that. But more experience he gets, easier it's going to get for him.
Over to third. Nice play by Wigginton on the glove side. That was a tough last time. And Worley, thanks to the double play, has a comfortable 5th inning to deal with. So Worley's bounced back. His defense has certainly helped him. Freddie Galvis turns this double play at a brand new position. Monday, May 14th, the Phillies will take on the Houston Astros. Monday the 14th is Teva Respiratory Asthma Awareness Night. Fans coming to the ballpark will receive a free Phillies Liberty Bell cap. Then Tuesday the 15th is the Citizens Bank Business Person Special, and Sergeant Modell Sporting Goods Seniors stroll the bases. That's for fans 55 and over. Get your tickets by going to Phillies.com. Fans enjoying the berm out there here at Bright House Field. Hiroki Kuroda getting set to begin his 5th inning of work. He'll face Brian Schneider, Freddie Galvis, and the pitcher's spot. Nobody's warming in the Phillies bullpen just yet. There is warm-up action in the Yankees pen.
You okay?
Everything's fine, Sarge.
What happened?
Spilled a little water.
Yeah, it looks like it. Look at the camera.
I don't know. It just got out of the way. Thank you, Anita.
Yeah.
Anita Slayton is our stage manager.
Let's say, if anybody in the berm need any water, we got plenty. All over the place here. I see, that's one of the things Wills does not like, by the way.
What, cleaning up after
well,
himself?
No, just spilling different things. No, I mean,
Brian Schneider hits one right back to the box. One quick out here in the 5th, thank goodness. Yankees do have bullpen action. They have a lot of minor leaguers that are coming up here. David Phelps is loosening up in the pen.
As a Yankee youngster coming into their camp, you just almost assume you're going to have a large number somewhere in the 70s, 80s.
Well, they're running out of numbers.
Well, I guess they keep retiring numbers.
There's Galvis, lined out softly his first time up. And he takes strike 2. It's 0-2.
You do like the way that he has choked up on that bat.
It's that one to left field. Gardner was playing way in, but he still has room to venture back to make that catch.
Yeah, those are the balls there that he's going to want to keep out of the air. Want to stay on top of it. He'd be better served in getting a ground ball. He's not going to be able to hit that ball out to left field.
Now, there are certain hitters that the pitch that's up like that they can handle, but not somebody like Freddie at this point.
Well, you want to get on top of that ball there. You see how he kind of just slaps at that ball? He wants to get on top of it and go through the ball, get on top of it, go through and down on it, just like that, in order to hit a line drive. Vance comes up with a hit. We've seen that before. Pitchers coming up with clean base hits.
Well, he's bored with 2 outs here in the 5th. Phillies have managed 4 hits this afternoon. That's the 4th. Just not a whole lot else against Hiroki Kuroda. I don't think Chavez is going to hold Vance Worley on. He's not. He'll play behind him.
Always thinking that the pitcher won't run. Usually they don't.
And the looper to center field. That'll be the 2nd straight hit for the Phillies. Worley stops at 2nd. So Rollins 1 for 3 this afternoon. Well, they certainly have had their base runners the last couple of innings, but they just haven't been able to get one across the plate against Kuroda.
Yep.
Jimmy not like that swing, Sarge? Did you see his face on that one?
Well, he didn't like probably that he didn't really drive the ball or hit the ball hard, but you know, I'd rather see him do that, not over swing, staying through the ball. You're not going to hit it hard every time, but your mechanics, you want to be there just about every single time.
So now Victorino, who's 1 for 2. Neither runner being held on for the Phillies. And Victorino taps it foul. No balls and 1 strike.
Well, you got the outfield playing pretty deep, except we're in center field. That ball on the ground, Vance should be able to get to home plate from second base.
I'm surprised that Wise is as shallow as he is in center.
Well, you know how the outfielders are. They'll play where they feel comfortable in playing. Victorino plays center field, and he doesn't play back deep.
Got a lot of real estate behind him, though. See where he's sitting.
Gardner almost has paint on the back of his uniform. He's so deep.
Down and away. 2-1 the count to Victorino.
No, and usually guys that play deep, they have a difficult time in going back. It's okay for them to come in. When they play deep, they don't have to even really worry about it. And Gardner really would, for me, though, with good speed, could probably play in a lot more.
Particularly against an offside guy like Victorino. Remember when Chipper Jones was playing left field, how deep he used to play?
Oh, boy.
Fly ball. Shallow left field. Bernier battle in the sun. He doesn't see it. Oh, he saw it at the last moment. That's a heck of a recovery to finish off the home 5th inning. I thought that ball was going to drop and the Phillies were going to have their first run of the afternoon. Bernier battle in the Florida sunshine to get the final out. Later on at 5 on Daily News Live, Michael Barkan, Phillies top sports writers, have plenty of stuff to talk about. Watch the best talk of Phillies sports on Daily News Live. That's later on at 5, only on Comcast Sportsnet. 5 of the books. We go to the top of the 6th. Vance Worley's still out there for the Phillies. Phillies down 3-0. Joe Savory is warming up behind Worley in case he's unable to get through this inning or if he reaches his pitch count. Even if he's cruising along, there's Savory. Even if he's cruising along, sometimes you'll see Rich Doobie just come out and take him out in the middle of the inning. So there's a certain pitch count that they want the pitchers to be at this point. Although, you know, it's not as restricted, I don't think, as it was 2 weeks ago.
No, that's because pitchers have been throwing a lot longer, getting in a lot more of their innings.
Well, Sarge, there's a lot going on around Major League Baseball. The A's and the Mariners are already out in Japan getting ready for opening day. And how about the rest of the news around Major League Baseball? Chipper Jones, of course, will retire at the end of this year. Had an emotional press conference the other day. Chris Carpenter, well, he's having some back issues. And Kendry Morales, he started yesterday for the first time since May of 2010, had a couple hits. How about Java Chamberlain? Last night, he was on a trampoline with his son, and he broke a bone in his ankle, and he could be out for a good part of this year. He's already going to be out because he's recovering from Tommy John surgery.
Well, you know, a lot of times, let's face it, these owners, they do not like you getting hurt from skiing, hunting trips, and so on.
But who would have thought about putting a trampoline in a contract?
Well, I mean, you know, that's a good point. I mean, his contract could be in jeopardy depending on what the language is on it.
There's no way the Yankees put no trampolining in the contract.
Maybe they said no jumping. No jumping around or something.
Well, it is a shame. I mean, he's coming back from Tommy John surgery and, you know, was hoping to be back, I think, by June. And now that is probably not going to happen. 2-1 the count to Robinson Cano. A lot of speculation with Carpenter having those back issues that the Cardinals might revisit Roy Oswalt coming back for them. Roy, of course, is not in baseball right now, but has said that he will sign or hopes to sign with somebody at some point this year.
Yeah, well, Carpenter being out is a huge blow to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Already without Tony La Russa, Albert Pujols, and Dave Duncan, who's not there right now. 2-2 the count to Cano.
This guy's one of the best hitters, obviously, in baseball, and he is that way. Keeps his hands back. Usually has slow feet. Boy, but can he drive a baseball?
And a called strike 3 on the outside part of the plate. Worley gets another strikeout. 1 away here in the 6th. We have a left fielder that used to wear a Phillies uniform up here in the booth, and Greg Murphy has another one down in the stands.
Yeah, what better place to interview Greg Lazinski than out here in left field, right? As we sit here and talk, enjoying yourself down here in the Florida sun. You don't have to work so hard, right? Now you can just enjoy the game.
No, it's a lot of fun. You know, a lot of Philly sponsors are all down, so we end up playing golf in the morning and come in the ballpark in the afternoon and have a little dinner at night. So it's a pretty full day, but. You know, you can't beat this out here in the sun. The weather's been tremendous.
Full day indeed. You know, of course, we'll see you up at Citizens Bank Park, you know, every home game doing your thing out there in Bull's Barbecue, of course. But let's take a look at this team as you sit here and watch this. Obviously, a lot of storylines, some injuries they're battling through. But the guys out here on the field, obviously, they can't worry about that. They're still battling for their own position, and they need to get some wins, right?
Well, I think, you know, that's true. You know, there is going to be a few battles. You know, you take your 3-4 hitters out of the lineup. Sometimes that's tough to replace. But, you know, there's quality guys on the field. And, you know, last year we went through some injuries. And our pitching staff's the mainstay of this ball club. So if we can catch the ball like we did last year and get some key hits and move runners and play a little more, you know, the technical game of it, I think they'll be fine. I think obviously, you know, you're going to miss Ryan Howard and his 40 home runs and Chase Utley. But you know, Howard will be back, and I guess as of now, Chase is still, you know, doubtful. But you know, there's a lot of quality on that field, and they're still going to be a tough team to beat in the East.
You know, a pretty good mix, obviously, of some veterans that are trying to make this team, and we've got some young guys. We talked about Freddie Galvis earlier in the game, playing a little second base, and you know, in terms of a clubhouse, I would imagine that Charlie wants a little bit of it. Get the guys that have been through the wars before, that have won before, but then you get the you know, the influx of new talent as well.
Well, you know, you can look at it one way. You need a chance. You know, young guys need a chance to play. They need the spring training exposure, find out what the game's all about. And sometimes when you do have an injury, say like to Chase Utley, you know, you give a kid like Freddie a chance, and there's high expectations. The kid's got a lot of talent, and you know, he could step right in and you know, be a good big leaguer performer for us. And like I said, everybody looks for that chance. He's going to have to take an opportunity.
All right, he gets the put out right there, guys. Golf and eating dinner and watching baseball. That's what it's all about here as we finish up the top half of the 6th inning. The Phillies trailing the Yankees 3-0. Thank you, Greg.
You're welcome.
Phillies baseball is brought to you by WB Mason. You can't go wrong when you buy right. And by Xfinity, only from Comcast, the official HD triple play provider of the Phillies. Well, last of the sixth, both starters still in the ball game. Vance Worley has gone 6 innings. He's allowed 7 hits and 3 runs. And in all honesty, the way he started and the way he's finished, 2 totally different landscapes for Worley. I think he's done a pretty nice job.
Yeah, that's why the pitchers don't necessarily go on how many runs they actually give up. They go on how they're throwing, how the arm feels, and whether or not they were able to get their work in. Now, they get hit out, they don't get enough work, they'll go right to the bullpen and finish up.
Ty Wigginton takes strike 1 from Hiroki Kuroda. Wigginton is 1 for 2 today. Singled his last time up, grounded out to third. Or singled his first time up, I should say. Grounded out to third his last time up. Pretty good chance the Phillies are going to need Ty Wigginton more than they even thought this year with the injuries to Howard and to Chase Utley.
Yeah, needing some power and base hits.
And he breaks his bat. It's the 3rd shattered bat today by Hiroki Kuroda. 1 away for Hunter Pence.
Yeah, that's what you call getting sawed off. That ball in on his hands.
Pence is 1 for 2. Reached on an infield single his last time up.
Hunter hit that ball right off of that home plate. Able to beat the throw, going to first base. One of the toughest pitches to hit when you're open, the way that Hunter Pence is that fastball down in the wind, and also that breaking ball, pretty difficult, that hard slider to hold up on at times.
Well, he tried to throw it again there, and it's 1-2.
Now, usually you'll get a little bit more closed up when you're getting ready to swing, but again, Hunter Pence has been comfortable with this stance, so he stays right with it.
He's brought the count back even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. David Herndon is now throwing in the bullpen for the Phillies. Joe Savory had been up and throwing. He's battled back now, 3-2. He keeps trying to get to the outside part of the plate, but Pence is not biting.
Done a good job at not swinging at a bad pitch so far.
Lance Nix waits on deck. And there's ball 4. So Pence works out the walk. To mention, the Yankees have a number of their minor leaguers that are over for this ball game because they have a split squad game that's going on right now at Steinbrenner Field in Tampa against the Minnesota Twins. Tony Pena is here, the Yankees bench coach, instead of Joe Girardi. Larry Rothschild is here, the pitching coach for the Yankees. I think Stump Merrill is here next to Tony Pena, just in case he needs a little managerial advice. Lance Nix 0 for 2. There goes Pence. Pitch is taken inside. The throw by Cervelli, not in time. I like it.
Oh, this is what they're going to have to do. No, that's almost more of a surprise, if you will, as he gets a great jump. Gets in there and just gets in there easy, too. I mean, even though that throw bounces there, he's able to pop up, slide there, but you want him in scoring position, especially when you're down like this, you have to continue to run, not just wait for that ball in the gap or that 2-run home run in this case.
A foul ball, and it's 0-1, or excuse me, 1 ball and 1 strike to Lance Nix. Up in Tampa, the Yankees trail the Twins 4-1. They have more of their regulars playing in that ball game. Phillies will be on the road tomorrow. They'll be in Fort Myers and then back here on Sunday.
I was just talking with Larry Anderson about that yesterday. Going to Fort Myers and obviously going over the bridge.
Little cue shot. Have you gone over the bridge at all this spring for any reason?
I haven't made one road trip.
The Sky Bridge, is that what they call it?
I guess that's what they call it these days. You know, some people have no problem at all in going over the bridge. Like
I have no problem.
Yourself, there's a lot of people that do, including myself.
Try to convince you every year that there's nothing moving about the bridge.
The bridge moves, and it moves because of the wind, Tom.
What if you had to go over to New Jersey? If you went over the Walt Whitman or the Ben Franklin?
You know, it's not that, you know, I won't do it. It's just that the anxiety that I get going over it, just don't need that type of a feeling.
Go over the Betsy Ross Bridge if you're going over to New Jersey. It'll be a little easier. It's a little wider.
Well, didn't have to make any trips. It worked out just great this spring training.
Inside, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Don't be afraid to ask Wills about it when he comes back on. He'll let you know about that, too. Yeah, Wills has been around a long time, as you know.
Wills has been here for so long that he was here when the Sky Bridge wasn't the Sky Bridge. When it was a drawbridge, as Nix goes down looking. And there are 2 outs. So still a runner in scoring position. The Phillies have not really responded today with runners in scoring position.
Well, the good thing, though, again, you have a runner in scoring position in Hunter Pence. I'm sorry, that ball's just almost right down the middle. Pretty good movement. That's that 2-seamer Greg Maddux almost made famous that runs back when that hitter jumps back. You could see that ball. It's got plenty of play.
So now 2 outs. Here's John Mayberry with a runner at second. And Mayberry takes away 1 ball, no strikes. Mayberry is 0 for 2 today. He had a cue shot his last time up to first. He struck out his first time up. 11 hits, 51 at-bats for John Mayberry. He's among the leaders in at-bats and plate appearances this spring. He and Hunter Pence. Boy, that's a tough pitch against a right-hander.
Tough pitch, and he's on his heels. Got to stay off of your heels. You know, good balance, just like everything else when you're hitting a baseball, golf ball, etc. You got to have balance, especially if you're going to consistently be a good player.
Right field, not hit that hard. Dickerson coming on. He's not going to get there. First run of the day for the Phils on an RBI bloop single by John Mayberry. And it's a 3-1 ball game. Phillies did not score yesterday against the Blue Jays, and it's taken till the 6th inning to score here. That may be it for Hiroki Kuroda. Larry Rothschild is heading out to the mound.
This is just good hitting. As he gets jammed, he's strong enough to fight that ball off to him. By then, Hunter Pence is off and running. 2 outs, nothing really to look at or anything else, but to really score. Kuroda going off. He did a good job today against the Fighting Fields and going through his innings.
Well, David Phelps is going to be the new pitcher for the Yankees. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. The Phillies are on the board, and we'll be back right after this. Well, Greg Murphy just had a chance to catch up with Greg Luzinski. Speaking of the Bull, Friday, July 20th through Sunday, July 22nd, the Phillies will take on the San Francisco Giants at Citizens Bank Park. It's the out-of-towner package hosted by Greg and Scott Palmer. It includes game tickets, hotel accommodations, ballpark tour. Call 877-833-7326 for those Phillies fans who are not in Philadelphia. If you're in Nebraska and Seattle, if you want to come out to see the Phils at the ballpark, give that number a call. David Phelps is the new pitcher for the Yankees. He was supposed to pitch yesterday for the Yankees when they took on the Red Sox, but he left because his wife went into labor. So he's back to camp and now is in for Hiroki Kuroda facing Brian Schneider, and he delivers the first pitch on the outside corner for a strike. It's 0-1.
Well, same thing for Mayberry. If he can get a jump, why not? Want to maybe try and steal a base, get back in scoring position. Only down by 2 runs, and those are the type of games that Fighting Fields are going to be playing, I would think, all year. You know, and you say that because they don't have the power that they've had in past years. So therefore, you got to think of some other ways to be able to manufacture some runs.
1 ball, 1 strike to count to Schneider. And he takes a breaking ball for strike 2. Man, that one must have swept right across the plate.
Yeah, most of the guys, again, they look for the ball middle of the plate away. You know, the balls that are inside, a lot of times hitters don't swing at them because umpires don't really call them. So they're almost shocked when that ball is called for a strike on the inside part of the plate.
High chopper to first. Chavez is there. Phillies will settle for 1 on the RBI single by John Mayberry. So Mayberry puts the Phillies on the board for the first time today. Phillies deficit is now at 2 as we go to the 7th.
about Robinson Cano coming into this game with not great spring training stats. Matter of time. This guy can just flat out hit. Double to left center in the first inning. Knocked in a couple. They scored 3 to the Yankees. To get off to an early 3-0 lead, Phillies came back and got one. This guy always good against the Phillies. Tremendous when he was with the Dodgers. There's a strikeout on John Mayberry Jr. Vance Worley goes down on strikes. And a little comeback sinker right there from Hiroki Kuroda, the Japanese right-hander over for the New York Yankees in the first year with them. And you see what he did. They took him out after 5 2/3, a walk, 3 strikeouts. Vance Worley, he really hung in there today. He started out a little bit shaky, but, you know, talked about Vance Worley earlier, that he's one of those guys that will keep on battling, and he's down there with our own Greg Murphy. Murph?
Yeah, Wheels, I think that's the best way to describe it. Really hung in there today, and we were just talking about it before they came down to us. Really, it was the first 4 batters. So what was going on in the first 4 batters that you were able to correct?
I thought I made good pitches, you know. I just got behind the count a little bit and threw it in the zone, and they put the bat on the ball.
When you're going through something like that, I mean, obviously spring training, if it's going to happen, let it happen now as we get Scott Pasetnik coming our way. Very nice catch. I'm sorry, that's Kennelly. Yeah, Kennelly. When you're going through something like that in spring training, it is the time to work on it. So what's going through your head as you try to battle through that first inning?
Well, I mean, you can't really say it any better than you did. You know, now's the time to work on it. I mean, if you're going to get into trouble, figure out how to get out of it now. But, I mean, the biggest thing for me today was just working on the split finger, and, you know, it's still a work in progress.
When it's all said and done, though, you leave satisfied because you were able to battle back?
Yeah, no, I mean, I kept the team in it from that point on. You know, it happens. They came out swinging.
That's all you can do. All right, thanks, Vance. Appreciate it, guys. Back upstairs.
All right, Murph, thank you very much. It turned out to be 6 innings, 7 strikeouts for Vance Worley. Here's Miguel Abreu, who got to the ball but was unable to make a throw. So Dwayne Wise is aboard with an infield single. That hit for the Yankees, the 8th hit of the day for New York. And it comes with 1 out. Murph was describing Tim Kennelly, who's out in left field, and made a fantastic running grab on the first out. Kennelly was just added to the Major League roster a couple of days ago. And he's not just up here as a minor league invitee today, which he was earlier this spring. Here's Colin Curtis with 1 out.
Well, he looked like he should be on a Major League roster with that play.
That was a really good play.
That was a good play.
There's Kennelly, who's played all over the place. Catcher, third base, first base, the outfield. Want to know the count to Curtis and a throw over. Hector Luna is holding the runner on.
Left-handed hitter hits this ball, so it's really slicing. Got a great jump. Look at the route he ran on that. Good play.
2-0 the count to Colin Curtis.
Coming right at our interview out there.
They sensed something was coming to go. You know, something was going on.
Well, that's like that second baseman hearing a guy coming. You could hear that.
Curtis is 0 for 1. He walked his first time up. And on the inside corner, 2-1 the count to him. So Worley goes the first 6, allows 7 hits and 3 runs, strikes out 7. He battled and got 3 double plays, 2 ground ball double plays, and then 1 a strikeout throwout double play. Runner goes, pitch is swung on and fouled at the plate, and it's 2-2.
Hit and run count, 2-1. Look like that's what they're going to practice a little bit there. See if you can get the signs and then execute.
So Wise will head back to first. Doesn't go this time. Pitch is nubbed back to the mound. Herndon looks at second. Oh, Abreu was late getting there, but he was able to get there. Abreu started in thinking that ball might get away from Herndon, so he might have to field it. And then he had to reverse his course and go back to the second base bag. So 1-6 on the putout.
Here's a little comebacker right at David Herndon. Now, before the pitch is thrown, you have to decide, know who the middle infielder is covering. But as Tom said, he started to come forward there a little bit, and then that got him lead to the bag.
There you go, Wheels. There are the changes if you haven't put them in your scorebook yet. Kennelly, Pasednik, Montañez in the outfield. Orr at third. Abreu, as we mentioned. Galvis is still at second. And Hector Luna's at first. Eric Kratz is doing the catching. And Doug Bernier is at the plate. That ball is drilled to left. Kennelly going back, and it's over his head, up off the wall. Curtis is around third, heading for home. The throw goes to the cutoff man, and the Yankees get the run back that they allowed. In the bottom of the sixth, it's now 4-1 New York. That ball just took off.
Yeah, ball was hit right on the nose, and Kennelly got a great jump. See him looking back up into the sun. He got a great jump on that ball to his right. That ball was hit right at him. He's looking up in towards the sun, and he doesn't get a good jump on this. But it's nailed. I mean, it's hit right on the nose. See, he was drifting on that one as opposed to the play before that, where it was to his right, saw it all the way, and was on on a full stride to catch it.
So 2 outs, a run in. Back to the top of the order for Brett Gardner. Gardner's been on base once today. He hit into a double play. It's surprising when he hits into a double play, just because of the speed from the left side.
Yeah, it almost had to be the way it was, where one guy touches it and throws the first. That was the old 4-3.
1 ball, no strikes the count.
It's hard to double him unless he hits it really hard near the middle of the diamond if you're involving 2 players. 3 on the other end, of course. Once in a while you'll find a guy who's really fast. I remember one year, I think Willie McGee led the league in grounded intos one year. He had a ton of them. And Willie McGee could run with anybody, but they'd pinch him up the middle, and he'd hit hard ground balls up the middle.
That's how fast Gardner is there. Second in the American League last year in infield hits behind Juan Pierre. One and 2 the count. Yeah, I guess the turf when Willie McGee was there was probably the biggest culprit.
Yeah, and like I said, he used to hit him hard up the middle, left-handed or right-handed. And I don't know that he led the league in grounded intos, but he hit into a ton of double plays, and you thought, how can a guy that fast hit into that many double plays?
Off the end of the bat, nice play by Luna. Herndon is there, and they convert. That was a good play all the way around. 3-1 on the putout. Hector Luna gets to the ball, and Herndon got to the bag. They were working on this before the ball game today. The Phillies were, with their infielders and their pitchers, and it paid off. Well, the best way to lock in some of the hottest games this year for the Phillies is a 3-game pack. The summer weekend 3-game pack includes prime summer Saturday games. Plus, you have the Red Sox 3-game pack. Some restrictions do apply to these special 3-game packs available now. Go to Phillies.com for details. Addison Maruzak is the new first baseman for the Yankees, and Jose Gil was warming the pitcher up, but that's still Francisco Cervelli as Freddie Galvis fouls it back, and it's 0-1. Galvis is 0 for 2. He lined out and flied out to left. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Over to first base. And Maruzak is there. 1 away. Mentioned that 3-game pack. The Phillies will take on the Red Sox at home again. There's always a lot of energy at Citizens Bank Park anyway. But when the Red Sox come to town, it seems like it's throttled up even more. Bobby Valentine and Joe Girardi got into a little bit of a spat last night after the game, although I don't think Girardi realized it, because they ended the game after 9 innings because Joe had said that he didn't have enough pitching because they were up 4-1 and late in the game, so he had one of his pitchers throw a bullpen session who he could have had in the game. And the Red Sox tied it on a suicide squeeze. And then after 9 innings, Joe Girardi said that, told the umpires that he was done. Now, usually they confer, as Scott Posednik is the batter, before the 9th inning, but I guess they didn't.
Well, they're just getting warmed up for the season.
I was thinking the same thing.
Terry Francona had to get a kick out of that because he was doing that game on TV last night.
Scott Posednik 0-2, and he takes low. Well, Girardi said after the ball game, I used a lot of pitchers in the last 2 innings, meaning the 8th and 9th. We've got a long day tomorrow, meaning today, because they had a split squad.
And they had a long ride back up to Tampa from Fort Myers last night. Hard to believe that Bobby Valentine could get involved in anything like that. I know, I am shocked. You get the feeling that won't be the last time?
I would agree with you on that one. Posednik fights it off. Is that going to be a fair ball? It is. It drops in front of Gardner, who was playing over there. So Posednik, has a 1-out single here in the 7th. And that'll bring Miguel Abreu to the plate. Phillies do not have a split squad going on today, but they do have some of their minor leaguers who are here, including Abreu. Troy Hanzawa was here taking ground balls before the game and is on the roster. Jim Thome's out on deck as Abreu takes low and away. Miguel Abreu is from Puerto Rico. There's Thome. Signed as a minor league free agent by the Phillies out of the Baltimore Orioles organization. He was in single A, double A, and triple A last year for the Orioles as the pitch is fouled away. Posednik was running. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
They played a little hit and run that time. 1-0 count. Michael Stutz throwing in the Phillies bullpen out there in left center field.
There's Michael. Rod Nichols, the Phillies AAA pitching coach, is out there with him.
And Mick gets to sit and watch a game right behind the on-deck circle. Mick Pillmeyer, who's normally the guy in charge of the bullpen.
He said he was going to be next to the dugout for a couple of weeks, but he's been going back and forth lately. And Abreu hits it to center field. I don't know if Wise is going to get that one. He can't. It's over his head to the wall. Posednik should score. He had a hold up at second base. Bernier had trouble getting the ball out of his glove. And the Phillies score their 2nd run of the game on an RBI double by Miguel Abreu.
We've seen balls shooting over outfielders' heads today, but it's been the Phillies outfielder. Sooner or later, if you hit one a little bit like that, maybe it's going to happen for you, and it did that time. And once again, it's a ball hit right at an outfielder with his sun, high sky. Got a decent jump on it, but still a tough play.
Well, here's Jim Thome. up for the first time today. Jim was busy taking more ground balls again at first base. Before the game, Tomey was first. Then Ryan Howard took some ground balls on that side field, which if you go to the ticket office here at Bright House Field, pick up your tickets, you can watch some of that. Tomey did not agree with that call on the check swing.
Started with a breaking ball, too, and Jim's going to get up there and tie that game with that first ball fastball, but he didn't get it. And you really could have had a check swing on that,
Sure
too.
could have. Inside, 1 ball and 1 strike. David Phelps, the pitcher, on in relief of Hiroki Kuroda.
Well, that wind's blowing right now. Jim Tomey get a ball in the air, and all of a sudden you're going to find out they brought enough pitchers.
We haven't seen one leave the yard today.
Yeah, which is amazing the way it's been blowing out. And just fooled a few outfielders on balls hit towards them.
Inside, 3-1.
Now here's where you can really lock in. Hitter like Jim Tomey will cut the plate in half now. And just look in a spot. Pete Orr waits on deck. If he gets what he's looking for, he can let it go. If not, hit 3-2. That's all right.
And ball 4. So the Phillies have the tying runs aboard, and Pete Orr is the scheduled hitter. Yankees do not have bullpen action. And Orr up for the first time. Looks like they brought enough pitchers today, though, Wheels.
Yeah, there's a lot of bodies out there.
Tony Pena has the lineup card this afternoon.
Well, the difference is Sanzawa going to come out and run for Tomey now, it looks like. The difference, of course, Tom, with all the pitchers they have out there as opposed to last night is it's a half an hour from Tampa.
Yeah.
So they didn't load up that bus with all kind of guys to go to Fort Myers for a night game.
Isn't that funny how Tomey was coming off the field and Hanzawa, who was probably half his size.
That was a mutton, Jeff.
Gave him a high five, or at least shook his hand as he was coming back.
It was a low five.
Yeah. There's Hanzawa. Pretty good defensive shortstop in the Phils organization. One ball, no strikes, the count to Pete Orr. And Orr sends one in the air to right field. Moving back on it is Dickerson, over the shoulder grab. Abreu's going to go to third. It just didn't sound like Pete Orr got that one.
Yeah, I think he got on the end of the bat a little bit. Because it still took off because of the wind. But then it died out there. That's a nice play by Dickerson. See if he hits this off the end of the bat. Yep. And that's the difference.
So 2 outs, and here's Luis Montañez. Luis had himself a pretty good spring. He's hitting .382, 13 hits and 34 at bats. I would think he's opening up some eyes.
No, Ryan Sandberg down there in the dugouts looking at him like, I'll take him.
Yep.
There's Rhino. Phil's AAA skipper, of course, again at Lehigh Valley.
Dusty Wathan in AA. Mickey Morandini in Lakewood.
Oh. Stay loose on that one.
Yeah, went to the back of the Yankees dugout, the back entranceway. 0-2 the count, or 1-2 the count to Montañez. Yankees scored 3 in the first. And then add one more in the 7th. The Phillies with a single run in the 6th and the 7th. Outside, 2-2.
Montañez chokes up in the bat a little bit, especially with 2 strikes, just trying to put a ball in play. See that much. Everybody buggy whips nowadays.
He fouls it away again. It's a great crowd today. You know, we've had the 3rd largest crowd in Bright House Field, the 6th largest crowd in Bright House Field this spring.
Haven't heard about this one yet, huh?
No. St. Patrick's Day was a huge crowd. Heard them announce that there are some seats still available for a couple of games coming up. We're winding down spring training.
That'll usually happen at the end of the spring, you know, because people have had their vacations down here. They're back home.
2-2 the count. In 3-2. Looked like Phelps was heading off the mound.
He wanted it.
So that means Hanzawa will be off and running. Marusak will play behind him at first.
You're getting yapped at right now from the Yankees dugout too. Is Carapazza? He's gonna walk over there. Probably Larry Rothschild.
Yeah, Larry Rothschild's there on the steps. Tony Pena's there.
Pitching coach sticking up for his guy.
There goes Hanzawa, and the pitch fouled back.
Nice to see Jerry Crawford today, huh? Came up, paid a visit.
Jerry Crawford's here at the ballpark so often, you wonder why he's not putting the uniform back on.
Talking to him about that, he sort of misses it. He's okay. Doesn't miss those foul tips. There's Larry Rothschild, long time. Well, he managed at one time for the Rays. Right. Florida, Cincinnati, doing a lot of teams. Well, they're in Miami now. You choke up like that, you can spoil a lot of pitches, and that's what he's doing here.
Montañez has won a game for the Phillies with a walk-off home run earlier this spring.
Not the first Montañez in a Phillies uniform. The great Willie the Philly, back in the 70s, was a piece of work.
Certainly isn't the flashiest Montañez.
No. Willie had, as he called it, style.
As he called it.
Yeah. He was fun.
Line drive caught by Bernier. That actually caught Bernier. And the side is retired. The Phillies do get a run on the RBI by Abreu. We've completed our first 7 here at Bright House Field. It's 4-2. Yankees on top. Phillies baseball is brought to you by the Quality Plus Ford stores. Now, top of the 8th, the Yankees are winning here. They're losing back at Tampa. Michael Stutz on in relief for the Phils. Vance Worley went the first 6. Then David Herndon pitched the 7th, allowed a run. And now it's Michael Stutz in his 7th ball game. No wins, no losses, a 3.86 earned run average. He's had a couple of outings where he's been really good. His last outing wasn't as good here at Bright House Field. And he will face Francisco Cervelli and Robinson Cano.
He's had a good breaking ball this spring. You know, he's one of those guys that, well, you know, he's shown that he can do a lot of different things. He could pitch 2 innings in a game, but then, of course, you can't bring him back the next day. Last year, they weren't sure about back-to-back games for him. They were trying to figure that out. He also shown that, you know, he has the intestinal fortitude to pitch late in the game. So I think they think they have a significant piece of the bullpen in this guy that they can trust him. But they're, you know, we'll see what his role is going to be.
I also think that, you know, as we get deeper in spring training, we're going to see guys maybe pitching back-to-back games, particularly Jonathan Papelbon.
Yep, they normally do that.
Or others out of the bullpen. Here's Francisco Cervelli. He has 2 hits today, 2 for 3. And he fouls the first pitch back behind home plate. No balls and 1 strike. Russell Martin will be the everyday catcher for the Yankees. Cervelli will be his backup. They also have Austin Romine. They got rid of Jesus Montero. He was traded to the Seattle Mariners. Part of it's because Cervelli did a pretty good job for them. One ball, 1 strike to count. Not a bad breaking ball there. It's 2-1.
His breaking ball, as mentioned, has been a little bit better this spring, and when he gets ahead of a hitter, he can really bury him with it now. It's a real good chase pitch for him ahead in the count.
Romine's been behind the plate all day. So, man, that wasn't a strike before.
Yeah. He's saying,
or Cervelli, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's saying, you know, remember last inning, you know, that's why my guy was barking over there a little bit at you.
Raise your hand, Larry. Show him who you are.
Yeah.
Well, they tried that breaking ball again. It's 3-2.
The umpires will get to the point during the season they recognize guys' voices over there, too. You know, umpires have been around long enough. Players have been around long enough. This time of the year, and, you know, the way it's mixed up, I don't know that they, you know, some of the younger guys know voices yet.
Well, Stutz gets the strikeout. 1 out here in the 8th.
John McSherry told me a great story one time, and John was, what a wonderful man. You know, so much fun to be around. We lost him way too young, but he said, you got a couple of rats in that dugout of yours. And, you know, that was just their way of saying, you know, guys that would chirp at them. So the Phillies pitching coach at that time had a very distinctive voice to say the
Padres.
Right. So John said Pods is doing his thing one night, you know, and John said, I took the mask off and I said, all right, Pods, that's enough. That is enough.
Robinson Cano with a fair ball.
Pods goes, how do you know it was me?
Look at Montañez's arm. He gets it there, but not in time. He has got a really strong arm.
Yeah, that's a nice play off the boards down there.
So a 1-out double.
Good job. Boy, his footwork was great on that. You saw the way he was behind the ball when he picked it up and in full stride and able to throw.
So 1 away. And here's Addison Marusak. Jose Perella is pinch running for the Yankees. Yankees have come back and won their game against Minnesota up in Tampa 6-4. And they lead this one 4-2. Kratz keeps that in front of him. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Only 1 at bat so far this spring for Marusak. Yankees as a team are hitting .258. Startled at the fact that, looking at their stats today, Wheels, that they've only hit 8 home runs.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that's going to be the same during the regular season.
Not when they get back to Yankee Stadium. Well, a lot of the guys, I mean, Teixeira hasn't been, you know, Teixeira will be all right, and he'll hit a lot of home runs. You know, Jeter's not a home run hitter, but he's been banged up all spring. Cano will pull the ball more. Granderson, he likes that yard. He's turned into a tremendous home run hitter now.
Oh, yeah, 41 last year. Rusak last year was with the Trenton Thunder and with Scranton Wilkes-Barre.
And A-Rod, he's going to hit his homers.
As long as he still stays healthy.
Right. I think a lot of home runs in that infield now.
Yeah.
Think about it. A lot of times you think about your outfield for your home run. Well, they got Granderson, too. You go around their infield, and there's some homers in that infield.
And a called strike 3. Out of the outside part of the plate. Second strikeout for Stutes. That was a good fastball.
Yeah, everybody agreed that time. Been a little barking at Carapazza, but that is a real good fastball there by Michael Stutes, as Tom said, right on the outside corner.
Well, the Phillies have retired the Yankees 1-2-3 twice today. Every time they do that, Comcast will make a contribution to Phillies charities. Phillies baseball is brought to you by the Xfinity HD Triple Play, your complete lineup for digital TV, lightning fast internet, and home phone. Brendan Laird was swinging at that pitch no matter where it was.
That's a guy that was swinging a fastball, and he didn't get it.
And no balls and 1 strike to count to him. Laird has struck out today. He's grounded into a double play, and he's grounded out. Or yeah, 0-2 the count. There's that curveball.
And now he has him 0-2, and you go a couple different ways. And you see some numbers there on Laird. Now you can go for the kill right here and bounce one up there. Let's see what they want to try and do. Or, you know, try and spot a fastball and then go for it. It was a fastball and not a good 2-strike pitch. And nobody knows that more than Michael Stutes. That you just can't get away in the major leagues a lot of times with a 2-strike pitch like that.
He'll tell him.
Oh, he knows.
I think he just said something to Mick Billmeyer.
Well, yeah, because it was right down the middle with 2 strikes. You don't ever want to give a hitter a pitch near the plate like that with 2 strikes.
Little looper to right field. That's going to drop in for a base hit. Montañez gets to it quickly, and he'll have no play at the plate. And the Yankees now lead it 5-2. So it turns out to be an RBI single for Brandon Laird, his first hit of the day.
Kind of surprised they didn't try breaking ball there. You know, it's hard to tell this time of the year. Combinations, but you know, he really had him set up. That guy was not even close to a breaking ball, and he throws a fastball away here. And it was supposed to be in. He missed his spot. It may have even been a ball off the plate. And you know, give the hitter some credit.
So 2 outs, pinch runner over at first. That's Dante Bichette. If you think that name sounds familiar, well, it should.
Yeah, it sure should.
And the first pitch to Chris Dickerson is a strike. It's 0-1.
Look at his father hit a baseball a long way.
Well, Dante Bichette, the son of the major leaguer Dante Bichette, is not as big as his dad. His dad had 274 home runs during his major league career, a 4-time All-Star. And Dante Jr. is just 19 years old, out of Orlando. First-round selection in last year's Major League draft by the Yankees. Hit .335 combined last year between 2 teams for New York.
Did he have stolen bases?
Nah, not really. He's 3 for 4.
Dante Bichette Sr.
How about this?
Blake Street bomber.
How about this? 54 games. He was hit 10 times.
Uh-oh.
6'1", 215 pounds is Dante Bichette Jr. His father 6'3". Thought he was a little bigger than that. 215 pounds.
He played big.
Line drive, foul. And it's 2-2 the count. It's probably the hardest hit ball that he's given up. Even the one by CANO was a grounder up the first base line. Off the plate. This is going to be a tough play. It's going to wind up being an infield single. And Galvis just puts it in his pocket. So the Yankees have first and second with 2 outs.
That was a breaking ball there. A little check swing. Nothing you could do about it.
Leaves it for Dwayne Wise as Stutes trying to get through this inning.
He goes after the breaking ball here. Just a check swing. Line drive in a box score.
Michael Stutes last year was in 57 games for the Phillies, was 6-2 with an earned run average of 3.63. And Dwayne Wise takes low. It's 1-0. Stutes had a great spring last year. Opened up a lot of eyes all the way around.
Started a game down in Fort Myers against the Twins.
Yeah, 3 scoreless innings that day. I thought that was the game that solidified Michael Stutes, that when there was an opening eventually that he would be brought up, and that was the case. One ball, 1 strike to count.
So you can throw that pitch all day, you can really compete. But it's not that easy.
Raul Valdez warming in the pen.
Came right back with it, just missed that time.
Larry Rothschild say anything from the Yankees dugout?
Say, at least you're consistent.
That looked like a pretty good pitch.
It was close. One before that was right on the corner.
Swing and a miss. He got him. And Kratz will pick it up and then track Dwayne Wise down, at least try to. And the side is retired. The Yankees tack on 1 on the RBI single by Brandon Laird. Middle of the 8th, the Phillies down by 3. Now the Phillies down by 3, and they've been down by 3 most of this ball game as we go to the bottom of the 8th. Don't forget, tonight on Sports Night, we've got a breakdown of the Celtics-Sixers game, plus a preview of tomorrow's Canadians-Flyers match, and Chicago against the Union. Spring training reports from here in Clearwater. Get all the news Philly fans need to know on Sports Night tonight at 6 and 10, only on Comcast Sportsnet. Tim Kennelly skies the first pitch into shallow right. Dickerson is there, makes the catch, 1 away. David Phelps is still on the mound for the Yankees. He picked up for Hiroki Kuroda. He got the final out in the 6th and then pitched the 7th, allowed a run, and now gets the first out here in the 8th. And Hector Luna is due up for the Phillies. Morello stays in to play second base for the Yankees. As Luna takes a strike, it's 0-1. Dante Bichette, who came on to pinch run, is now over third base. And Luna takes way outside. Dante Bichette's playing awfully deep at third, isn't he?
Well, maybe he has a real good arm.
Wants to show it off. Luna's had a good spring, 261 with 2 home runs.
Third basemen that play that deep normally throw really well. And you know, you don't have a fast runner. You're not thinking about a bunt. Remember how deep Pedro Feliz played?
Well, that is true. And he had a really good arm. To right center field. That ball's well hit into the alleyway, and it's tracked down by Dickerson. Well, he's made 2 really good plays today.
He did a great job of gauging that from a right-handed batter that's going to slice back towards him. Whoop.
He thought he was going to collide with Dwayne Wise.
That's exactly what he thought. No, not in a spring training. You see a right-handed hitter hits this, that's slicing like crazy towards him. Here comes Wise, here comes Dickerson, and Wise peeled at the last second.
Well, 2 outs now for Eric Kratz up for the first time. He takes outside. 1 ball, no strikes.
One of them right here needs a banana peel act, and Wise thankfully did, or that wouldn't have been funny because those 2 guys were really running fast. And that Dickerson's big.
He's way bigger now than he was when he played for the Nationals.
He was with the Reds too, wasn't he? For
yeah,
a
he
while?
was.
Yeah.
Yep. Eric Kratz so far this spring, 353. 6 for 17. Outside, 2-1. That ball is crushed deep to left field. Forget about it. Look out, Tiki Bar. Wow, right off the roof of the Frenchie's Tiki Bar. And Eric Kratz has his 2nd home run of the spring. That's a big man's home run right there.
I can really get into it for him. Totally saying that's kind of right. He got a fastball up a little bit, and man, did he nail that thing. That was headed for a Budweiser. Here's a look. That was a slider.
Looked fast.
Yeah, it looked like a little bit of a hanging slider, and right off the thatched roof. And a scramble for it. Oh, that guy came up with it on the rebound.
Well, the Phils are back within 2. They've done this often today. They've scored single runs in each of the last 3 innings. And now Freddie Galvis fouls it away. 1 ball and 1 strike. I think that was the longest home run we've seen here this year.
I agree.
Although
it was one to
J.P. Arancibia hit one into the Tiki Bar for the Blue Jays.
Somebody hit one deep to right or right center in a game, but left field, yeah.
Towering pop-up. Foul territory. Bichette near the coach's box. And that'll do it for the inning. But the Phillies get 1 back on the home run by Eric Kratz. It was a long one, and it got out of here fast. We go to the top of the 9th inning. Phillies still down by 2. about it. A lot of the tickets that are available for the 2012 season have been scoffed up, but there are some games that are still available. Don't forget, go to Phillies.com to check out what is available for every home game in this upcoming season, including Thursday, April 12th, when the Phillies take on the Marlins. It's a Hatfield Dollar Dog Night. And then Friday the 13th, when the New York Mets come to town. It's the first home weekend of the season. Again, go to Phillies.com to purchase your tickets. Let's see the line score of this ball game. We go to the top of the ninth. Phillies down 5-3. And they'll turn the ball game over to Jonathan Papelbon.
I've had a pitch of the ninth today.
I guess they figured if they were leading, he'd pitch. And if they were trailing, he would get in. If it was a road game, he'd probably pitch the eighth inning.
This is the first game I've seen him pitch on the air because he's been pitching in the middle.
Oh, right. In the fifth inning.
In the middle innings every game.
So far, so good for Papelbon. He has allowed some base runners, but 4 strikeouts in 6 innings of work.
Well, he's a closer. They were put on the earth to torture people. they just don't have 1, 2, 3 innings. That's what closers are, except for maybe Rivera.
Colin Curtis is the leadoff batter for the Yankees here in the ninth. And Curtis hits one to shortstop. Brayu's there. 1 away. 1 pitch, 1 set aside here in the ninth. Seventh ball game for Papelbon. And here's Doug Bernier. He's been on base twice today.
Talk about a guy who's used to pitching to these uniforms.
Oh, yeah.
Boy, they must have faced each other a lot over the years.
Papelbon delivers strike 1. There you go, Wheels.
Wow. 0-6, huh? But 19 saves.
ERA just over 3.5. 0-2 the count. Some cheese right there. Second out of the inning. So 2 outs for Papelbon. 2 quick outs here in the ninth.
4-seam, 2-seam, slider, and split. And that was just a fastball right there. Came tailing back.
So he needs 1 more out to get through the inning. And here's Cole Garner, who came on the last half inning to play left field for Brett Gardner. 267 this spring with a home run. Yankees won their other game today against the Twins. They came back and won that one 7-4. And the Phillies have been teetering all afternoon. Yankees led it 3-0 after 1. And the Phillies got a run in the 6th. The Yankees answered. Phillies got another run in their half of the 7th. The Yankees answered. And the Phillies got a run in the 8th. And now they're trying to keep it at a 2-run deficit going into the 9th. And Jonathan Papelbon is doing everything he can to make sure of that.
Oh, like a breaking ball there. Yeah.
Now the 0-2 pitch coming. Inside, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Now there was a split. I wanted to see that, you know, what that looked like out of his hand. And you could see it come out and then just fade. Obviously, he wanted to come near the plate a little bit more and then fade out of the zone so he'd chase it, but he almost hit him with it. Well, that's a familiar look, huh?
Got him. Back-to-back strikeouts for Papelbon. He shook off the first sign from Kratz, got the one he wanted, and it's a 1-2-3 top of the 9th inning. So last licks for the Phillies. They trail it by 2. 5-3 as we go to the bottom of the 9th inning. And Jonathan Papelbon in his first outing outside the 5th. Well, he makes sure that the Phillies' deficit is just 2. Bottom of the 9th inning, Phillies down 5-3 here at Bright House Field. Another sold-out crowd. It's their upcoming schedule of games that includes this Sunday when the Baltimore Orioles are back here. That game will be on PHL 17. Monday, the Red Sox come up from Fort Myers. Tuesday against the Pirates here at home. Then Wednesday, the Phillies are on the road. So Thursday, they'll welcome in the Rays. And the final telecast from down here in Florida before we head back north. Next Saturday, the 31st, against the Toronto Blue Jays. Phillies will finish up spring training on the road against the Atlanta Braves up in Orlando, and then they'll fly from Orlando back to Philadelphia. And then they'll finish, technically finish spring training with 2 games against the Pirates.
And then open the season against Pittsburgh out there.
Phelps is still in there. Scott Posednik is the batter. And Posednik takes a strike. It's 0-1. Posednik this spring, 378 coming in, but he singled his first time up today. Philly's going to have a decision to make with Posednik and Juan Pierre.
Yeah.
Posednik has probably been the better offensive player so far this spring.
He brings a different set of offensive tools than Pierre does. So that could go into the decision. You know, Posednik's more likely to get a double. Pierre is more likely to get a bunt down.
And Posednik has found himself in center field more often.
Well, I think Posednik's at this point, you know, would probably be a better outfielder than Pierre, and if you can play center, you would be. Because Juan Pierre basically is a corner outfielder now at this point.
In 3-2. Phelps may not last this inning if he runs into any kind of trouble. The Yankees have 2 relief pitchers warming as Abreu's waiting on deck. And Posednik lines one to center field. Wise hovered a moment and makes the catch. So he hit it right on the nose. 1 out. Here in the bottom of the 9th, and here comes Abreu. There's the bullpen action for the Yankees. A righty and a lefty. Mike O'Connor's the left-hander. He was the only guy that was available last night for the Yankees in that game against the Red Sox late. Abreu doubled his first time up, and it's no balls and 1 strike. To the count. Tuffy Goswitch is out of the on-deck circle for the Phillies. He'll be due up next. That is the pitcher spot. couple of positives out of today's ball game. You know, Vance Worley gave up the 3 runs in the first, but he really battled. He went 6 innings today. Struck out 7. Hiroki Kuroda for the Yankees went 5 2/3. Offensively, the Phillies have hit late in this game. Not much early on. 2-2 the count, but they did get on the board after being shut out yesterday by the Blue Jays. Two balls, 2 strikes the count. Another foul ball by Abreu to stay alive. It's actually interesting watching the PFPs today before the ball game, and the numbers are dwindling. You know, in camp, just looking at the number of pitchers that are out there, and everybody was out there. And they were going over different situations. Placido Polanco was there, even with his sore finger. The ball's hit to center field, not as well as the last one. And Wise is there to make the catch. 2 outs.
PFP, pitchers fielding practice. The nemesis of many pitchers throughout the years, including Larry Anderson. Hate it.
Well, Charlie Manuel was out there. Sam Palazzo was running it.
Well, that's so necessary, too, because so many games can be won and lost on brain cramps. You know, just on a simple thing with a ball hit to the right side of the infield where a guy freezes, then cover first. All of a sudden you have a base runner. You can lose a game on that. And it seems so simple, but once again, it's repetition.
And I have to say that there were PFPs involved in it, but this was entire infield practice, too. I mean, there were other situations that they were going over, too. And each time, if there was a mistake that was made, as Tuffy ghost switches in the hole 0-2. You know, Sam wouldn't say anything. He said, just a reminder, you know, there was 1 out with the bases loaded, and you're up by 3, so turn the double play traditionally instead of, you know, to home.
At any level of baseball, one of the things you're always taught, before the pitch is thrown, what am I going to do if the ball comes to me? And that never changes. And it never changes how many times mistakes are made.
1 ball, 2 strikes the count. And the pitch to go switch. Little number up the third base line. Nice play. And a nice play at first as well, and that's the ball game. So the Yankees are able to hold on and win it today by a final score of 5-3. Charlie Manuel's squad lost yesterday to the Blue Jays 2-0, and today they managed just 3 runs on 9 base hits as they drop a 5-3 decision in front of 10,812 on hand today here at Bright House Field. So the Yankees win it by 2. Phillies offense started to wake up a little late in this ball game, but just couldn't overtake the Yankees in this game. Time now for our W.B. Mason delivery of the game. And Wills, we go all the way back to the first inning for this one.
Yeah, game was basically won by New York in the first inning. Robinson Cano, one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball. A couple men off Vance Worley was struggling with balls in the middle of the plate in the first inning, and there's Cano made him pay with a 2-run double to left center field. They scored 3 in that inning and never trailed the ball game. Robinson Cano swung the bat well here this afternoon on the split squad they sent over here, and that's our W.B. Mason delivery of the game.
Well, Tony Pena was put in charge of the Yankees today, and he wound up helping them to a victory. So Phillies will go back to work. They'll be on the road tomorrow. They lose it today by a final score of 5-3. We'll be back right after this.